Hello and welcome to this overview of Amnesia in historical romance. I'm Olivia, your favorite resource for book recommendations you can easily screenshot, and you're watching Random Olive Reads. So, what is amnesia and why do we care? Well, with head injuries, it's possible that the person could experience some temporary memory loss. And while the person who's lost their memory is under some duress or stress, it's often up to the person that they're with to assist them. In some cases, their caretaker is someone who's familiar with them and cautious about reintroducing information that could be alarming. In other cases, the caretaker is a stranger who is unable to help with their identity. Cocky Mister by Annabelle Anders is book 3 of the Cocky Gents series. Tasked with protecting his friend's younger sister, Stone has followed Tabitha as she elopes with a duke. She quickly realizes that the duke is a creep and fights her way out of the elopement just as Stone catches up to her. Somehow they end up in an argument at an inn. Tabitha falls down the stairs, hits her head, and forgets who she is. Somehow, Stone is now playing the role of her husband and feeling terribly guilty about deceiving her when she normally wouldn't have given him a chance to court her, especially since he's a second son and a mere mister. Slightly Sinful by Mary Balog is book 5 of the Bedouins series. Well, in this one, Aline is thrown from his horse and believed to be dead. When a few desperate women go searching for loot from fallen soldiers, he is found alive and rescued, although naked and unconscious. He regains consciousness in a brothel and realizes that he has no idea who he is. Rachel, who has been tending to Jonathan Smith, is a beautiful woman who he thinks is a golden angel. Now, the women want to get back to England to catch a thief who stole their money, and Rachel feels guilty because she's the person who introduced them. In order for Rachel to gain her inheritance from her uncle, Aline, aka Jonathan, poses as her husband, and all her friends come along. Well, of course, all sorts of trouble happens, and then Aline still's trying to struggle to remember who he is. The Duke is But a Dream by Anna Bennett is book 2 of the Debutante Diaries series. Secret newspaper columnist dresses up as boy to drop off her report for the week and stops to have a pint or a meal at a bar. She accidentally gets in a barroom brawl, hits her head, and loses her memory. A starchy Duke at the bar witnesses this and brings her home to recover. Since the Duke is new in town, he's usually reclusive, he doesn't actually know who the lady is. She doesn't remember who she is and needs to recover from the head injury. And since no one knows her social status, it's hard to know if she is a suitable match for the Duke or not, and they try to stay away from each other despite their attraction. The Duke with the Dragon Tattoo by Kerrigan Byrne is book 6 of the Victorian Rebel series. Left for dead on the side of the road, a young man with no memory whatsoever is rescued by Lorelei's family and nursed back to health. As they grow closer, the man is named Ash and eventually betrayed by Lorelei's brother and shipped away. After a decade or more, Lorelai is about to marry someone else, and then she's kidnapped on her wedding day by a criminal known as the Rook. The Rook is really Ash, of course, and he still has no memory of his time before Lorelai rescued him. He has finally come to claim her and make her his wife. Along the way, we do find the backstory of Rook and how he's connected to the other men of the Victorian Rebels series. The Accidental Wedding by Anne Gracie is book 4 of the Devil Riders series. An Earl's brother has a riding accident, bumps his head, and is rescued by an impoverished country family. He's cared for and nursed back to health, but when he wakes up, he doesn't know who he is or where he was going. Meanwhile, the family he's with is being run by the eldest sister, who he is most definitely attracted to. With the compromising situation that these two are found in, our gentleman will have to do the honorable thing once he remembers who he is. Devil in Disguise by Lisa Kleypas is book 7 of the Ravenel series. Merritt Sterling is the daughter of Lillian and Marcus from It Happened One Autumn of the Wallflower series, and she's now all grown up, widowed, and running the shipping business her late husband left behind. Somehow she meets Keir McRae, who is a Scottish whiskey distiller, probably trying to sell his product. Well, they meet, they hit it off, they tryst, but Keir is somehow a target for harm. So at some point, he's attacked and loses his memory and needs Merritt to take care of him. There's also this ongoing joke about him being about as handsome as a certain duke that we all know and love from previous Kleypas books, so there is some sort of connection and mystery there that needs to be uncovered throughout this story. How to Forget a Duke by Vivian Lorette is book one of the Misadventures in Matchmaking series. A starchy and serious duke hires a matchmaking company to find a wife, but the matchmaker thinks he's hiding something, so she wants to go to his estate to investigate. Except along the way, she gets into a boat accident, hits her head, and loses her memory. And then the duke finds her and has to nurse her back to health. He knows who she is, but has been instructed by a doctor not to tell her anything, and of course, now that she's not investigating the man, she ends up falling in love with him. The Girl with the Make Believe Husband by Julia Quinn is book two of the Rokesbees series. A young lady ventures from England to America to find her soldier of a brother, but instead she finds her brother's best friend unconscious in the hospital. In order for the doctors to tell her anything about his condition, she lies and says that she's his wife and they married on paper while she was crossing the ocean. When he wakes up, he's surprised to find himself married, but he's forgotten the past 6 months, so he assumes it must be true. She helps nurse him back to health, and he helps determine what actually happened to her brother. Angelica Frankenstein Makes Her Match by Sally Thorne is the last book I'm going to talk about here. We have poor, sweet, kind of spoiled Angelica, who is the sister of Victor Frankenstein, the mad scientist. While she's assisting him with his science project, she makes a creation of her own to be her suitor. The guy she creates, though, has a very strong moral fiber, and even though he's attracted to her, he doesn't act on it because he has no memory of who he is and he might be tied to somebody else. So we start the mystery part of the story where they team up to try to find this guy's identity. There's a tiny smidge of a triangle happening when Angelica catches the eye of someone else, but we're mostly just waiting for our guy to realize who he is and whether or not he's free to pursue Angelica. Thank you so much for watching this video. Links to all of these books are in the description box below. Like and subscribe so you don't miss future videos, and you can follow me on Instagram at randomolive.